So we went from, paper to computers to technology. Now with AI, we need something that can think quickly and identify things quickly. And AI is a term that's thrown around quite a bit. But underneath that, there's a lot of other things. There's machine learning, there's large language models, there's a lot of other terminology that AI is sort of that umbrella in a lot of ways. And it's a way for us to be able to move faster. So you can look at a transaction, and I know I've got some AML specialists, analysts, leaders on this call, that you can start looking at patterns and you can analyze those patterns. But frankly, when you're doing real-time payments or when things are moving quickly, you're looking at what happened 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago or a month ago, trying to run it through your brain. And it's difficult to do because of the speed. And AI allows us, and Chris is going to explain a little bit more the inner workings of how it works, but it's allowing us to move at that pace, sort of like you would use a calculator instead of doing longhand math. It moves at that pace, it can identify patterns, and it can learn. So we can teach it, this is okay or this is not okay. And it can move through at a much faster pace. And we'll talk about this in a little more detail, but it's not to replace the human brain, but it's to augment what we know and to get it to us faster. So it's not a replacement, but it's really sort of augmenting that. And with that thought, Chris, I'd like to turn it over to you because this is definitely your strength more than mine. If you could kind of dig in a little bit for us.
You use the term umbrella, and that really is what, when we say AI, or at least when I hear artificial intelligence sort of thrown around, it really is an umbrella term. It's a very timely umbrella term because we have a lot of noise, particularly in the EU and now here in America, around AI regulation. So I know we're going to talk about regulations as part of our next step in the context of the existing world that we live in addressing your existing regulations and how AI can help you do that. I also think it's one thing we should try and scratch out for the audience here is what are some of the new topics of discussions around actually regulating AI itself, and will that potentially have an impact on folks? And I think we know the answer to that. Folks, for the purposes of this discussion, one of those parts of the umbrella is really machine learning, which Becky talked about, and I think that's what we want to double down on, particularly because we're talking about transaction monitoring, and that's really where machine learning sort of earns its stripes. There's a little bit of LLM, of large language models, as part of the overall artificial intelligence discussion, particularly around generative AI, that can help with the investigative portion of it. But for the purposes of this discussion, I think we stick with machine learning when we start to throw around the terms AI. And really what AI is, if we think about it, is mathematics with some technology mixed in, right? I think that's the easiest way that's been explained to me, and hopefully I can explain it to the rest of the audience here who are non-technical like myself. I don't have a computer science degree, but it's really mathematics, statistics, then using algorithms to actually crunch some of that data, crunch some of those statistics, look for trends, look for patterns, and then produce an output.
Datos Insights.